name is Anzhelika, and I'm responsible for marketing for the incident communications at Kaspersky. And today we are going to talk about how to disclose a cyber incident and how to get ready for that. By failing to prepare, you're preparing to fail. That's true. And the thing is that many of us, we don't want to fail, of course. But a proper plan we have to manage, a proper strategy we have to have in case of a cyber incident is the way for success. So for the next 20 minutes, we're about to talk the cyber incidents, types of the cyber incidents, and how to handle them inside the company and communicate externally. You can see a number. It's 1.23 million for an enterprise. That's an average cost of a data breach in the last year. And an increase was pretty big comparing to 2017. And I'm pretty sure that this year is going to be even a little bit higher. Well, let's go inside the numbers a little bit more. And what can we see here? What kind of data is usually stolen? First of all, the data is the customer personal information. It's pretty common, and usually that's the biggest target for the cyber criminals. The customer payment and the credit card data is the second one, and authentication credentials, the third. I think it's on the first place, it's last but not least, and I think it's really most important for the industrial cyber protection and for industrial sector is the corporate intellectual property. The cyber criminals, they not only take this data, it depends how they use it as well. Sometimes they sell it, sometimes they take the data from your intellectual data to reuse it or to invent some new product a little bit in advance you do it. What is the cost of a data breach? Usually it has, first of all, you pay the compensations to your customers, to your clients. It depends on the sector you work. It depends on your company. And of course, after all, you pay for your new marketing materials and to attract new customers. As well, there is a place for regulatories. You pay penalties and fines, and unfortunately, you lose your business partners. Well, I don't think that the cost of a data breach, it's only, I think that it's just a top, but what is in the bottom? You can lose in your business continuity. And if you are not prepared to overcome it, to handle it, you have to pay even more, unfortunately. Why is that high? Why usually companies, they overpay for the cyber incidents and they overpay the penalties, the fines? Usually it happens just because they don't have a proper communication inside the company, between the corp-com team, between the management, between the informational security people. Usually they even, they don't know each other sometimes, and they have totally different language. For example, I decided to take a coin. I think everyone is aware about this coin. And I think that on the left side, it's the top management. They just see the money. When a cyber incident happens, the only thing they think is just how to save money and how to prevent more losses. And the second one is informational security. They just try to understand what happens and how to handle it and how to recover. And the corp-com, they usually don't know how to communicate, and then they usually call everything just a virus. And what we understood and what is really important to understand, that usually the problem in the communication, incident communication, it starts from the misunderstanding, first of all. And from the people, they really cannot try to organize themselves, cannot work in a team, and everyone is trying to do their best, but at the same time it's not synchronized. It's the time to synchronize if you face it. Well, let's go ahead and well, I want it not to be boring, and I really hope it just can cheer you up. I'm not going to invent anything from this slide. You can read everything by yourself. The thing is that in case of any data breach, as much you are prepared, as much you can do, and as much you can get from the data breach and lose less. I mean, you can get, when I say that you can get from a data breach, some companies, of course, some companies they faced it, some companies they were pretty good in the communication, some companies were bad. We're going to talk about a little bit later. When you face a data breach, when you have an incident, sometimes you can just get even more trust, get even more understanding of the situation, attract more people when you're just act in a proper way. Or sometimes you lose because you just don't know how to disclose it. Here is a screenshot. Actually, I have some shoes on the, if you want some shoes, ask me how. Well, ransomware, the first ransomware, that's actually the simplest example of a cyber incident. It was pretty famous. It happened in 2017, and there were a lot of companies. Nissan, Renault, and many companies like Telefonica and other ones around the globe. It didn't only affect Europe, for example, or America or Asia. It was all over, worldwide. They were losing the money, and what is important to understand here, yes, they were pretty open in the communication. They started to say that, yes, we were attacked. Yes, unfortunately, we faced it. But they could do it faster. If they do it faster, and actually how we teach our companies, our customers, we teach them to disclose. If you see a cyber incident which is pretty open, I mean, you can notice the cyber incident just because, for example, on your screen you can see a message, give us some kind of bitcoins or give us some money, or sometimes you can see just a black screen. So that's obvious that you are attacked. In the way, if you attacked in this open way, it's better to disclose it as soon as possible, but of course using the proper plan of the communication. And it's really important, especially if you have a lot of partners, if you have investors and customers too. So here, I think that the main thing they had to learn from this exact cyber attack, that they were not prepared at all. So basically, they lost time while understanding what happened, first of all, and while losing their money and trying to communicate internally. That was an easiest example. Let's go ahead. And now I will talk about Maersk. I think that it's pretty famous and pretty popular, especially in industrial sector. What happened with them and what did they do? They were amazingly good in the communication. They were hacked. All the system was encrypted, and it happened that they understood that they have a data breach. From that time, it took only a few hours for them to disclose it, to communicate it in a proper way, to talk to their partners, to talk to all the uh, all the parts of the world, because they have lots of offices and they disclose it in a very good way. The only thing they learned from this cyber incident, and the only thing what is important, is that employees, not the top management, not the corporate communication team or informational security team, normal employees, they didn't really understand what happened. And that was a gap, because internal communication was not that, let's say, was not that smooth as it could be. But anyways, they did it in a really good way, and later on I will proceed to our service. That's is a good example. Anyways, they lost, I think, as I remember, they lost $300,000 from this data breach. That was really a lot. And they made it in a good way, and they didn't lose any trust. Let's go ahead. There is NorthKey Drop. It was attacked just in the start of this year, in March. I hope, I'm curious if anyone heard about it or not. I'm not going to talk about it a lot, because it's pretty much similar with the previous one. It had a good communication, it had a good plan, but at the same time, people in the company, they didn't know that sometimes if you receive the emails, you shouldn't open them and just push the links you don't know. Well, that's a good example as well. They were pretty good, they were pretty fast, and they were pretty clear in the communication with the regulatories, with all the partners, and with all the touch points they had. Well, let's go ahead, and that's the bad example. There is a company, Equifax. It's a financial institution, and they were attacked, as I remember, in 2017. They thought that everything is done. They thought that they communicated it. They had a lot of problems while communicating it, but they were not clear with the regulatories, with their customers. They told one thing, but they didn't tell the whole story. They didn't give the whole understanding of the situation. So basically, till now, 1.5 years has passed. They are still get their fines, and the fines are pretty huge. You can see the numbers. So basically, there are good sides, good examples and bad examples, and you never know what kind of examples you are going to be. And let's go to, actually we are going smoothly to the main thing I want to tell you is we were attacked by ourselves at Kaspersky. It was 4 years ago, it was in 2015. And this attack was completely different comparing to another ones. This one was created for Kaspersky. That was not globally moved. It was created to steal our our intellectual data, our R&D files. Well, what happened? What we do, and and how we communicated it. First of all, when you face this type of data breach, it's not like you are gonna disclose it the same minute. That means that an attacker sits inside your system, and while you are working, doing your normal job, it reads all the emails, all the communication, and all the data you have. We overcame it. I mean, we made it in a very good way. First of all, we had to fly to each other around the globe because we couldn't use any laptops, we couldn't use any mobile phones, we couldn't use anything, and we couldn't disclose it inside the company. We couldn't give a hint to an attacker that we understand that this attacker is inside our system. So it took some time for us to understand how to communicate, to find an active group and to communicate together with this active group. And what is important, on the top of this group was Eugene. That's important because top management should be always involved in any kind of the communications. That's a crisis communication, and that's money. And that's the future of your company. So we made it in a perfect way, and there were just the publications around many of the resources that was really silly to hack. That was really silly to try to attack us and try to steal anything from us. So we've done it in a very good way. And I think that it couldn't be even better. It's just as it is, it's perfect. Well, and since I'm a marketer, I love product placement, but it took 15 minutes for me to get to the product placement. What we've developed a course. It's a workshop. We can call it whatever, it's a training. And it has our personal experience, our own experience in the data breaches. So basically what we do, we share our experience. We practice crisis communication skills together with the group of a company. What we have already done, we took some people from the top management, we took some people from the crisis corporate communication team and from informational security, and we put them all together just to communicate with each other and just to create a plan. Well, we enhance internal communication process. We help to understand how to work with each other, how to understand each other, because as I previously told, top management only has money in their mind. Corporate communications, they have virus, antivirus, and that's it, black and white. And only the informational security people, they have understanding of what's going on. We are preparing the company to communicate it internally and externally to the employees, to the journalists. And as well, we are helping them to understand what kind of penalties they can, what kind of situation in the regulatory in the company and how to overcome it. We support business continuity. Anyone understands that the business continuity is the main target of a company, and it's just a synonymous of the money. So business continuity should be on the place, and that's how we help. The process, that's actually the last what I want to tell you, how we make it and what you receive from the service. First of all, we are doing the pre-workshop audit. So together with you, we are giving you the questionnaire, and we understand what kind of infrastructure you have, what kind of internal communication you have, and we are preparing the materials for you to understand better how you communicate each other, first of all, because you have to know that. Then we are developing the materials for the workshop. We are understanding what should be communicated to you and what kind of a company you are. Then during the workshop, during the session, we are showing you that what I've showed you just recently, just now, different types of cyber attacks. And in case of any cyber attack, you communicate in a different way. So you, as a usual employee, you never know how to communicate about different types of. We give you, of course, the first-hand experience. I was just briefly telling you about what kind of experience we had, but there were a lot behind it. There was a lot of the preparations and a lot of the communications with each other. Well, and during the workshop as well, we are giving you not only the recommendation of the operational security plan, but we are also giving you the tools how to encrypt. We are working with you together to create, by the end of this workshop, a plan which will cover your incident for sure. And of course, you will have hands-on practice. with the tools we are preparing for you and with the questions we will prepare for you. So basically, in a real time, we will try to feel ourselves in a cyber incident and trying to mitigate it, try to mitigate the financial risks and the reputational risks. Well, I think that I'm pretty good in timing, and I think that I am done with the presentation. I was trying to be very precise and very brief. The only thing I want to tell, and the only thing I want to finish this presentation is that, first of all, when you face the cyber incident, just don't be afraid of communicating inside. And the second thing, yes, you must be ready for the cyber incident in any ways. No one is 100% secure, and it happens. It happens, and we can help you to resolve this situation. That's it. Thank you.